Blood for the blood god. Welcome back, everyone, to the adventures in the land of the Roadwarden. We last left off. We traveled to the west. We explored a ruined village that is full of murder and mystery. We have no idea what actually happened there. However, it felt like something happened from within. There is something going on within. People were breaking down gates from inside the place. There was a lot of burnt out corpses, goblins hiding in the... Well, we think there's goblins. We never actually dived in to see. And there seems to be a connection to the inn that we visited before. And that inn seemed to have a different kind of wealth in the area. So I'm kind of connecting some dots, but I don't know if I'm overthinking it. We also met a gentleman who seemed to be in a quite the panic. And we offered to give him our services within a day. So we had to leave there because our stomach was getting upset, you know. And in a day we got to return and try and escort him to one of the towns. So we decided to go further west to check the roads, try and clear them out, and tomorrow we're going to head back there. So we ended off right here. Welcome back. And it's good to see you. Pull up a chair, get a nice cup of coffee, and enjoy a nice romp in the world of the Roadwarden. This plant, it shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or on the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now? Or was there a point in time, centuries ago, when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Good old Gordy. That's our horse, by the way. I wonder if I can mouse over this to get, or like click on that to get a reminder. Pity. Gordon is peacefully observing the dark grass with slapping flies with its tails. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees this place through very different eyes. What I've learned in games, you always trust the animals. If the animals are tweaking out, you should be tweaking out too. I encourage it to graze while I look around. I know there are dark forces hidden here. I ask the right for a vigilant eye and a bright soul. Okay, hold on a second. I noticed this before. A winged hourglass, and it demonstrates our allegiance to the right. I think this has to do with the religions in the area, because when we were having dialogue and kind of building our character, we did choose that we have some sort of fellowship belief. I want to go to the archive. Not the archive. Where is it? Is it the journal? Yeah. Glossary. The right. Magic. Densities, warfare, religion. The winged hourglass, the right, and sacred tablets. Rights tablets were written almost 2,000 years ago by many authors. Of 500 years, Adir, the first emperor, turned some of them into a collection of religious teachings. The right is the monotheistic god described in Rights tablets. They tell about superhuman deeds of colorful heroes struggling with symbolic challenges and creatures. They don't focus on a specific ethnic group and were created when the northern tribes were still far from forming shared identities. The tablets also don't explain much about creation, purpose, or destiny in the world, focusing more on the daily life and ethics. Okay. The teachings most priests agree on is that the right is the only gods. Okay, so it's very monotheistic. It's willing to forgive human wrongdoings if one decides to turn away from their evil deeds. Okay, this sounds familiar. All humans will be judged by their deeds, both in this life and after death. Okay. Do we trust our instincts where, like, things don't seem right? Our horse is very peaceful. Do we trust us, or do we just let the horse... I don't want to let the horse just go grazing when we're having this weird feeling in our chest. I know there are dark forces hidden in here, and I ask the right for a vigilant eye and a bright soul. You bow your head, trying to imagine an appropriate ritual. Whenever you start a thought, it runs away, to the sounds of insects, visions of predators, smells of the muddy water. You rub your hands, focusing on what's in your grasp, collecting your wits slowly. It takes a few moments, but you start breathing without sensing the stench. You arrange all the chaotic images into a cohesive utterance. Your prayer is brief, but once it's done, you feel prepared. Let's take a look in the water. You step cautiously without knowing how deep it gets. You have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. I am curious about these roots. They mentioned the tree should be dead. It's alive, so the roots have to have something to do with that. You kneel in front of one that's lying on the shore. It's brown, covered with hair that resembles that on your arm. Ew! When you touch it, it's moist, soft, and warmer than you'd expect. I do something with it? What is that something gonna be? Am I gonna like poke it with a stick? I don't think I should touch it. There's something weird going on here. I'm gonna stand up. Let's approach the altar. Swamp altar. There's clumped dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rains. The bottom surface of the table, it's dusty, but you don't find any spider webs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. I guess we can make an offering to something. You know, we can't let this good altar go to waste. Use your keyboard to name objects that you're interested in. What are you talking about? What is your sacrifice? Blood. Blood for the blood god. Can I sacrifice my winged hourglass? I am not sacrificing food. Or a rope. Or a gambazon. Can I sacrifice Gordon? What is your sacrifice? I wish to sacrifice bad vibes. You either can't do that or you don't possess such an item. Damn it. Okay. How much food do we have? We only have 2 food supplies left. Maybe I can sacrifice a coin. We need to save up coin. Wasn't 1 coin worth 3 supplies? Okay, you know what? I make an offering. It said food as an example. Let's sacrifice one of our food. I want to see what happens. I'm curious, damn it. Maybe we can feed the tree and it will blossom into our best friend. Is it a treant? You place any type of food you can find in your sacks or on the nearby plants, but none of them seem to make any difference. I try something else. I walk away. Okay, let's touch the roots. I do something with it. Oh, they give you full free. Okay. Lick. No. I look. Sometimes, if you've watched my other content, you know, I like to be clownish with these things. I find humor in doing strange things. I'm weird, okay? I embrace it. And I know you do too. We will not lick the tree roots, though. I will reserve myself. We're gonna lick the tree roots. Even the game does not approve of this. The game does not approve of this. I just heard that weird like budding. Did I get an achievement to lick the roots? I don't know. I have the Steam overlay disabled. Like I said, The root is soft and doesn't resist your touch. Its smell is not far off from the stench of water from which it sticks out. You feel its warmth, or maybe it's just a trick of your imagination. After a couple of moments, your lips start to itch. Now, okay, listen, Reginald Stoutworthy, he is a man of science. He believes in learning about all unknown entities as detailed as possible. So when he sees a weird, soft, warm to the touch, unnatural being, you must taste it. You must taste it to find out, will it be juicy enough to become a jumbo? I do something else. What do you try to do? Okay, licking did not work. Can we talk to the roots? Like, you know, have you ever heard of the positive vibes? Like, if there's plants, but you start speaking negatively to them, negatively to them, they will wither and die regardless of the amount of care and attention you give to them. So what if we're just like, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. And you can't do that, or I don't understand you. Damn it. I do something else. Okay, we can't touch. Like, I think the whole licking thing would be the same thing as the touching thing, except that our lips are itching. What else can we do to tree roots? I don't... Like, I'm tempted to cut into it to see if it bleeds. Is that too crazy? Is this... I heard this game is very unforgiving. But we're a scientific man. We've tasted it, it made our lips itch. That means it has enacted a violent act towards aggression. We will not stand for aggression. You pull out your knife, then stop in place. You can't tell what the results of wounding the tree might be. Oh my god, it's saying, are you sure? I hate it when games say, are you sure? But I want to know. I want to know. Do we spare the tree? We gotta make sure all forms of evil are eradicated from this place. This is an unnatural entity that did not let me pray. It did not let me sacrifice my food. I make the cut. You pick up the root. The cut is swift, but the nimble root is difficult to hold. It backs down into the water, pulled by the rest of the creature, leaving trail or red bubbles and mud. It does bleed. The water quiets down a few minutes later. A chunk of the root is still in your fingers, so you move it into a jar from your bundles. Your hand is now covered with a red, sticky goo, smelling like rusty nails and sweet fruits mixed with beer. You reach for a water skin and wash the plant's juices from your skin. What the hell? Inventory. A weird root, a hybrid between wood and flesh, covered with hair and partially sunk in its own red ooze. When taken out, it twitches on its own. Oh my god. I walk away. I approach the altar. I make an offering. I sacrifice the root. You either can't do that or you don't possess such an item. Did I say it wrong? A weird root. Let me do exact same thing. I make an offering. Weird root. Right? Weird root. You put the tree's root on the altar, but nothing happens. Okay, we did learn. We need to be very specific with things. Isn't that just, like, sadistic? We cut this living tree's leg off, and then say, here you go. I walk away. I don't know what else to do at this location. I think we need to, like, get some lore research about the altars and what you can sacrifice. I don't want to sacrifice my coin. I think that's really valuable. Or my tools or anything else. Now, this is a living tree, so maybe we can find something in the forest. It doesn't seem to eat or feed off of normal things. The only other thing I can think of is sacrificing my blood, which would make a lot of sense. But we're probably going to lose vitality. Ugh. This is stupid. We're gonna die so early in this game. I don't know if there's permadeath or anything. Time's ticking, though. Oh. necromancy. Do it. How much? Oh, Jesus. I can't offer any more. I make a deep cut, just a couple drops from the tip of my finger. That's not going to hurt us, right? I make a slight cut. It will only hurt a little. I'm assuming like a deep cut is going to take away maybe both pieces of vitality. A little one will be one piece, and this is going to do nothing. Let's just do a couple drops. See if it reacts. If it reacts, then we know we got to give it more. You jab your finger with your knife. The blood flows slowly, and you pay close attention to the moment when it falls on the altar's surface. Each drop splashes in all directions, then disappears. You see no trace of them. It's drinking the blood. It's drinking blood. We're walking away. If we... I don't know how open this game will be. So far, it's showing me, and it's teaching me that we can be really free with stuff. I want to go find some animal. I try something else. I walk away. We need to go traveling, and we need to find some kind of animal in the wilderness. And oh, fishing spots. We need to catch a fish. We need to find a fishing spot. A massive plant with no leaves growing near an altar. You're currently here. Wow. I keep getting impressed by this game. Let's go north because we wanted to check this place out. What is this place? You slow down. Among the shrubs, a small pack of dragonlings is feasting on the carcass of a grey auroch. Can we sacrifice it? One of them, with red feathers on its arm, straightens up and gives you a curious glance. Its head tilts left and right, forward and back. It screeches at you, but doesn't move forward and returns to a meal. So it's given the whole warning sign like, hey, this is mine, eh? You get your own carcass, somebody first, huh? You wonder what would happen if you were on foot. Would they let you be satisfied with their prey, or would they run after you? But if so, for what reason? For now, you have enough space to move forward, yet stay safe. The powerful jaws break the monster's bones loudly, then bite off and swallow chunks of meat. The only thing I can do is ride forward and keep my distance. Dragonlings. So these are baby dragons. Yeah, we don't want to mess with babies. Oh, we're not... Oh, probably because we cut ourselves? I should... Okay, when I rewatch, I want to see if after the blood, if that went down. I ride forward, but I keep my distance and look over my shoulder. Oh. I'm going to turn up the music a little bit. It's really good. The beaten road serves your palfrey well. The forest to your left becomes sparse and brighter, and there are dozens of human-made paths among the fruit-bearing trees. On your right, there's a large pasture with at least a dozen massive mouflons. 2 of them, already sheared, look comically small. Soon after that, you ride alongside vast, flourishing fields filled with rye, still green, preparing itself patiently for the second harvest. The path ends with a massive wooden gate, the stone wall separating you from the glow of lights behind it. From the glow of lights behind it isn't as tall as the roofs, but you can imagine climbing to its top. There are pretty much no cracks, no missing bricks, a sign of many hours of labor, especially considering how massive the settlement is, as wide as a city district. The birds and monkeys are now just a distant echo, replaced with the sounds of carts, running, hammers, saws, laughter, and shouts. So this is this must be, is this Havlov, the city? Finally, maybe I can rest here. Sigh, I don't feel comfortable in large settlements. Let's get this over with. Oh, that's cool, a little bit of character development. To be perfectly honest, this is definitely going to be Reginald Stoutworthy. He's more of a lone wolf than anything. The more people around, the more he feels like he has to you know, prove himself in ways of glory and grandeur. It's too overwhelming. He compares himself, and he quite often needs to take a moment of just sitting in a corner, contemplating and stroking his mustache. Let's get this over with. Pardon me? There we are. A young man is leaning against the closed gate, covered by its shadow. He's young, tanned, and has a short, elegantly trimmed red beard. Beneath the green gambeson, he wears an expensive tunic decorated with colorful trim. From his arm hangs a steel helmet, though the metal is so thin that it's mostly made of wool and leather. He moves into the light and takes on the posture of a disciplined soldier, not a mercenary. He's standing upright, with his chin up, There are 2 weapons on the ground leaning on the wooden beams of the gate, an axe made of steel and a wooden club. He doesn't reach for either. You dismount smoothly, still having some vigor left. Good old Gordy holds his hail tie. Hail tie? Look, I never said I was a good reader. His tail high. A narrow path leads north towards 2 field workers, one with a hoe and one with a pitchfork. They wave to you. You can't see their faces, but their clothes are simple, gray pants and vests made from hemp and wool. I wave back, why not? It's better to keep some distance. We gotta stick to character. He's a professional, he doesn't trust anybody. If we start walking around this world, like this world feels like it's a very dangerous place. If we start walking around waving and being all like, oh, hey there, everybody. My name's Reggie. You want to have some food from my pack? Even though we technically did that? That's a recipe for disaster. People are going to take advantage of us. It's better to keep some distance. We just approach the guard. The guard smiles, yet avoids your eyes. We got him. And has to clear his throat before he speaks. Welcome, traveler. If you're here, if you're nay, oh, this is part of his accent. Welcome, traveler. I don't have a voice for it. Is it another Scottish? If you're nae here to make trouble, Howler's den welcomes you. We have the whitest flower there is. When he bows, you realize it's a well-practiced performance. If it's new garments you're looking for, you can order everything you need right here, in all colors, shapes, and sizes. Capes, boots, vests, robes, or if you're interested in a master, if you're yourself a master of the needle, I can assure you, we have fabric you're looking for. His act is over, and he glances at your mount in a moment of silence. His eyes get wider as he observes it with a childlike fascination. Well, he's probably having this moment of silence because he was so embarrassed about how he stumbled upon his words. He was probably practicing that for years. Nobody's probably come to this town. This is Gordon. It helps me patrol the roads. You can pet its side if you want, but no sudden movements. I'm Stoutworthy, your new Roadwarden. I want to see a mayor. I think that's it. We're sticking professional. A city folk, aye. The mayor's busy, but I'll ask her. Give us a moment to let you in. He knocks at the gate, which is then pulled inwards by 2 other guards, a man and a woman, wearing their own gambesons, similarly green but tailor-made to match their figures. Their nearby buildings are simple houses made of wooden beams and covered with thatch, while the storehouse is even more modest, with a roof wood of planks. The watchtower has a ladder made of ropes and sticks, no stairs. Just give me a moment. The guard strides away before he finishes the last word. The others close the gate behind you and observe your mount carefully. Your eyes run east to a humming creek running through the center of the village. A lot of people are really interested in our palfrey. It must be, they probably mentioned it, but I forgot, but it must be a rare thing in these lands. I think they did mention that most people don't have a palfrey that can run like fast enough to escape the monsters. I wait for the return of the messenger. A common sound, aye? Well, that's Howler's Creek. The guard, like most of the locals, is taller than you. Wide but shallow. There's nae been a flood in years. Pa told me there used to be nigh bridges. Neighbours crossed it with their boots in their hands, and 'tis clean like a raindrop. But there are nae many fish. Where? Her companion? Her companion? Wait, I never know the genders of these people. We're the cleanest village in the north. The king in the north. Her companion chuckles brightly. When the guard returns, he's still alone. Oh, it's a different person. She can ne'er come now. A friend of mine is in labour, eh? The mayor wants to be there when the child arrives, but I was asked to show you the village. Okay, so everybody in this village has the exact same voice. I nod. Fine. That's very strange. I feel like that's a red flag. He approaches the watchtower. Tie your mount here. We'll keep the kids away. Most of the neighbors are getting ready to celebrate. Once you're done, he grabs the rope ladder. The view from up there is gorgeous. I nod and think of my knife. Oh, I love the writing. I nod and think of my knife. Oh, my beautiful knife. How I miss thee. How I wish to just disappear into the woods and cut more living tree roots. If it's a trap, I'll get him first. We're not going to be that crazy. I think that's a little bit extreme. I climb after him. Even though the ladder swings in all directions, the guard gets to the top quickly, like a monkey climbing up creepers. You, on the other hand, need to stop and wait for the ladder to calm itself. When you join the man on the wooden platform, you're a bit dizzy. He's leaning on the wooden parapet, observing the area with a smile. I look around. Oh, baby! See, this nae place like Howler's Dell. This nae place like Howler's Dell. Have I been saying den this whole time and it's actually Dell? The guard points in every direction, giving you no time to contemplate. For the next few minutes, he describes the fields and their crops, the flocks in the pastures and the shepherds inspecting the fences, the ancient garden of trees and bushes, larger than the village itself, the sunlight dancing on the stream to its own tune. If you are to believe everything he describes, this place has access to everything in abundance, the sweetest honey, the most fragrant bread, the softest wool, and the beer is excellent. He sounds like a city merchant who's trying to sell an old house. What an annoying kid. Near Hobleven, you could find 5 larger and richer settlements in less than 2 days. No wonder he's so proud. Why wouldn't he be? They've tamed this scrap of land. Like, I think this is pretty impressive. Like, we were just outside with a freaking flesh tree and a bunch of baby dragons devouring a corpse, crushing its bones, and a whole burnt-out village. This place is thriving. But that begs to ask the question, why? Why is it thriving? Okay, I'm starting to rephrase, I'm starting to rethink things. And I apologize in advance for like stopping the playing in order for my brain to process things. I could just pause the recording, but I want this to be as genuine as possible. It mentioned that the Pelts Inn, that settlement had recently appeared around the same time that that burnt village disappeared. So that made me think that maybe they were somehow involved in the looting and polluting of it because they had riches. They were dressed really well and it seemed to be safe and people were just kind of joking around and stuff. So that made me think that maybe they had something to do with it. But what if this town had something to do with it? And Pelts Inn is the refugees, the survivors of that town. But they probably would have had more to say about it. You know, they probably would have been able to say that used to be our place. Unless they didn't, wasn't paying attention. That can happen. The fact that these two areas exist is the anomaly here. No wonder he's so proud. Why wouldn't they be? They've tamed this scrap of land and live in comfort. The islet in the middle connects both parts of the village. According to the man, the northern gate is hardly ever opened, as it leads naywhere now. Near the eastern gate, there's the Ape Ale Inn, where you can find a bed and victuals. And this is, it's harder to read this without doing an accent. it's so much easier to read it with an accent, where you can find a bed and victuals, and there's a stall where Akakio's rewards our work, unless we annoy him with pointless talk. He lets out a chuckle. On the opposite side of the creek, there's another white house. It belongs to Bayan, the best clothier in the north. The priests live in the southeast near the wall, but they didn't attack the strangers. You also hear about the hunter, the cooper, the fisher, the miller, the pie maker lives with his sister, the baker, the smith and her husband, the carpenter live with their kids. Jesus! Some of the larger buildings could accommodate 2, maybe even 3 generations at once. There could be more than 100 dwellers here. You consider stopping his speech, but he suddenly points at the islet again. There, see? The mayor's coming. The one wearing the purple. You're free to join the traveler. I nod and climb down. Okay, he gave us a stellar introduction. Very hospitable. We appreciate hospitality. You try to get down quickly, but 2 steps are enough to make you sure that was a bad idea. You wait for the ladder to find its balance. You're relieved when you touch the ground again. You untie your palfrey and follow the guard. You pass a small pasturage, surrounded by a wooden fence, a few loose chickens, and a tethered boar. The fancier buildings are covered with whitewash coating and surrounded with vegetables, herbs, and flowers. The bridges are wide enough to carry even a wagon, but for Gordon, walking on the wooden beams is far from pleasant. The islet is empty, but you notice an empty stall painted with shapes of colorful flowers. Now I'm getting vibes of, what is that? Anyone see the movie Midsummer? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. We know that there's some kind of gods working behind the scenes. These guys are sacrificing children. They're drinking their blood. I walk over to the second bridge. Along the entire path, you notice more and more people observing you, smiling, or casually greeting you as they're focused on their own tasks. Finally, you reach the main square. A large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water, held together by a thin wall, perfect for sitting. But the smell coming from the liquid makes you think of rotten eggs. The plant reminds you of the tree you saw in the south. Aha! Next to the swamp altar. And we have evidence that we've cut it. We might be in trouble. In the north, you see the Ape Ale Inn. That's the place that the guy says is crazy expensive. And we're poor. Judging by the tables, stools, and benches outside of it, it's open for guests. The villagers are chatting and dining loudly, and you catch their curious glances. On the side of the dining area, the merchant is arguing with a tall, broad-shouldered worker. An old man is sitting by himself, eating a pie with a walking stick leaning against the table. A young woman is cleaning the empty mugs in the creek, speaking with a man at least twice her age, maybe her father. There is so much unique details. It's hard for me to understand how much I need to focus on. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's not a bad thing. Like this is like reading a book. I need a spot to tether good old Gordy. There's a wide wooden roof right next to the gate that shelters carts, crates, and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey, to a beam placed here just for this purpose. Without a moment of hesitation, Gordon starts to chew in the nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bundles. You return to the inn. Okay, good. Our horse is getting a nice little bit of food here. I look for the mayor and approach her. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy on her knees. She's holding his hand gently, showing him how to eat gruel from a bowl. It's not a cheap meal, though. You spot nuts, berries, and milk, and the added honey makes it yellowish. The kid is clean and quiet, and once he notices your arrival, he crams his mouth with a spoonful of oats.
Now, love,
the mayor titters.
Do not get distracted.
She rubs the meal off his face.
A few more spoons, and you'll go help Papa in the kitchen, aye?
She gives you a radiant, though apologetic smile, then turns her attention back to her companion. I observe her more closely. That's not creepy. Her long, full-sleeve linen dress must have been dyed once in blue and once in red to achieve its dark, fancy purple, which would draw looks even in Hoblivin. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape as thin as a shawl. The brown belt on her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale, with powdered and rough cheeks, and her lips match her outfit, though they're a bit closer to wine red. The thick gray strands in her long blonde hair look more like a fashion choice than a result of aging. Her eyes are the color of her cape, keen and vigorous. She's shorter than most people around, though would still be the tallest woman in most of the northern settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands add fragility to her appearance, even though her posture is upright, her legs confidently crossed, and her delicate voice assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. I wait for as long as it takes. I need no invitations. I sit down on a bench. We're now approaching the mayor of a settlement. I feel like we're okay to wait here. We've explored the road. It's not safe. Technically, there's dragonlings, but we need to get to the next day. I think in this case we... Original Stoutworthy wouldn't wait. He is a busy man. He has places to go. He sits down on a bench.
Just a moment, please.
She glances at you harshly and puts the boy on the ground.
I'm sorry, love, but I need to speak with our guest, darling.
She addresses one of the inn workers, a girl close to 15.
Take him to father, will you?
Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of question or suggestion.
Yes, ma.
She responds. Both her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother, and neither of the kids resemble their mother. Now, I think this is okay. You know, the game is making you feel like they're testing you for trust, but maybe they're testing you to being a pushover. You know? Like, the kid, send him to his parents. What is he doing there anyway? Get the kid to the parents. It's business time. Right? come here and discuss things with me. I don't even know what we're going to discuss, but discuss it, please. The flowing water hits silently the rocks and wooden stakes surrounding the isle, then splits into two streambreads. In Hovleven, the river is surrounded by tall walls, protecting the banks from deterioration, and the water is seldom free of dirt. Here, the smell is as fresh as it would be in the woods.
So, we have a Roadwarden again.
The plant reminds you of the tree you saw in the south, next to the swamp altar.
I'm sure you're hungry. My husband will bring us something soon.
No food is free. I'm not hungry. I want to take it for the road. No food is free.
Now, let's not get silly.
She lowers her voice.
Nothing is free, but every act of kindness is a trap. I'll fill your stomach now, and we'll both fill our pouches later on. And of course,
she brings back her smile,
'tis a custom of ours to lend a hand to lost travelers. The forest is full of fruit, and that's no reason for us to suffer from hunger.
Ah. Nothing is free, but not every act of kindness is a trap. Okay, then I accept. I think that was actually polite of us to do. We're not just freeloaders. We understand business, and we know it's not free. I think that was actually a polite move. She did the offer, and I accept. You know, that's fine.
Ah, that's a relief. You're saving me from one awkward dinner.
She taps her chest and looks
She taps her chest
and looks at a flock of birds that fly above you loudly, heading south.
As we're waiting, be so good as to help me understand something. Ever if you're but a mercenary, I can nae imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening, not so long after Asterian's disappearance. There's nae glory nor treasures to find here.
Her pale fingers form a tent on her stomach. That is a power stance. Then clasp, leaving the forefingers pointing at you.
Ye were sent here by the merchants. They want the peninsula. They want the peninsula. Shula.
She's smart. She's power stancing us. She did the whole triangle on the lap point technique. I know what that's all about. I've been a teacher, and I've had to have some disciplinary discussions with students before. That stance works. I present Hovleven's interest as an opportunity. I portray the situation as lightly as I can. I simply explain the situation. I make it clear that collaborating with the city would keep her people safe. Well, she caught me. I don't hide the fact that the guild needs new opportunities. I think this would be the smartest thing to do. She's being friendly with us, but she's being friendly with us clearly to get information. She's smart. She's thought this out. She knew we were going to be coming. Who knows? Maybe she's involved in the disappearance with all these blood trees around. Maybe he is the blood tree. No spoilers in chat. I think we would present it as an interest, as an opportunity for them. We're doing business right now. You introduce yourself and touch on the more obvious sides of the potential deal with the guild and the city chief, the troops, their pay, and the patrols they would establish, the overview of taxes.
Trade routes would bring new life.
Oh, this is me.
Well, trade routes would bring new life to this place, you see.
You try to sound warm.
It's a win-win, I tell you, for Christ's sake.
Throughout your speech, the mayor observes you patiently without interruptions.
I'll see,
she finally responds. As she observes your palfrey, she twists her deer buckle left and right, left and right.
If it was that simple, I'd be eager to applaud. But it never is that simple, is it?
Her eyes fill up with melancholy, despite her smile.
I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot, not a stick. But when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch.
Her accent is now almost identical to the one used in the city. What sort of catch? I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. You don't have to trust anyone blindly. Negotiators can satisfy both sides. You're speaking from experience, I assume. It's one of these. Like, we're going to be upfront with this person. That's how we're doing. We're not here to mess around. We're not here to screw anybody over. Our job is just to present the deal. Like, here's the deal, yo. Let's get down to business, all right? Let's hash this out. But I am curious about what the experience is. Well, I believe you're speaking from experience, I assume.
Do I really sound that confident?
She titters and waves her hand by her chin as if you just offered her a compliment.
I've seen such negotiations clearly.
Clearly? There is not even the word clearly in that sentence.
I've seen negotiations during my studies. I can't say I took an active part in them. Let me show you an example.
She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another, then leans forward and rests on her elbows, allowing her hands to freely make gestures.
You make a deal with a settlement, flour and wool in exchange for coin and tools. You send the first traders, and they imply that you're ready to pay more for, let's say, parchment. Months later, you want more rye, just the parchment and wool. We can't butcher any more mufflins, the locals say. The locals say, don't worry. You answer, we'll send you a small flock, just turn one of your fields into a pasturage.
As she pretends to speak as different characters, her voice comically shifts, and she has no issue switching between the accents. I encourage her with a kind smile. Keep it going. This is entertaining. She swings her hand above the table.
Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks some crops. The tribe needs not just the tools and coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds, and the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons cost a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more mufflins, and to sell us the cheese. And guess what?
With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms like someone in a third of her age.
It turns out that the village can't say no more anymore. They lack supplies and seeds, and the land they can't refuse.
I nod. She's right, and it's better not to say anything stupid. Don't you think the city would see value in keeping you strong? Fewer risks for them. I smile. I have no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect her people from these games. I think that's the right way to go, and to be honest, I'm impressed. She has thought of every possible outcome. And I am a strong advocate. I'm going to say this right now. I am a strong advocate for preventative management systems. If you're out there and you're doing reactive management and you're just dealing with things on the fly, you are sending your establishment and all the people that are relying on you into a healthy pit of doom. Anyway, enough projecting. I smile. Well, I have no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect the people from these games. Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
Oh, how wonderful. Keep the compliments coming.
No soul in the square reacts to her loud laughter.
But all that doesn't mean I can counter every single city plot on my own. That's the good thing about living here, with these kind of people all around us.
She nods towards two little girls that are carrying a basket filled with vegetables between them.
If some of us struggle, we all have to deal with the consequences. We all struggle, but we all benefit. But Hovlavan, if they see profit in, if you understand I'm angry, if they see profit in chopping off our arms, they'll sell them to the first bidder.
She gives you a sad glance, but cheers up after a sigh.
Let's finish these introductions. I'm Tyus, one of the keepers of the Ape Ale Inn and the mayor of Howler's Den. I assume it would be convenient for you to take my answers back to Hovlavan.
She wonders for a moment.
Say, when can we expect the first caravan? After winter?
Well, it depends on what you can sell, and what you want in return. Bloody hell.
While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. The refreshing aroma of roasted mutton covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey tempts you to bite, and right away, the juices are sinking into the round trencher, a plate made of simple brown bread. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped red radishes and a sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. Buttermilk? It's something that sounds so damn good. Like, anything with the word butter and milk combined, it just makes it sound so good, but I betcha it's kind of greasy. It's all bought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother, and in the end, the innkeeper himself shows up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and a not-so-clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduces himself as Eric's. And, after confirming you won't get sick from what he prepared, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. Thais tears the meat into smaller pieces, then eats slowly, often expressing her enjoyment with a hum. This is sounding more and more cultish as we go. She's been referred to as the mother. There's blood trees everywhere. They have an abundance of goods. I don't know. I feel like they've been burned in the past. They somehow like made a deal with some eldritch god, the blood tree god, to gain protection. They have to sacrifice every once in a while. And that other village, it didn't work out that way. And they were trying to like escape the village from whatever the horrors that wrought from within. Did I read this? Yes, I did. Meanwhile, we get to the important stuff. Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong. I'm going to calm down in the voice acting. My throat's already starting to get a little bit parched. So we don't need your guards and on our walls. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly. But a lone Roadwarden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters, willing to patrol the paths, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we'd expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. You vaguely recognize the name of this tailor shoemaker, but you've never earned enough pay. You never earned enough to pay him for as much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. She then repeats her question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. And that's what we're here for, aren't we? To find out what is in the area for the guild. Understandable, but you won't find much in the other tribes. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops. For we have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while Creeks sells meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been to Creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping their roads safe. White Marshes, on the other hand, as well as Old Pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand into a clean cloth, adjusts the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Stoutworthy, how's Hoblivin? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Ooh. This is getting really interesting. She seems overly kind. And they have the most fertile land, but they... With that much valuable land, you think people would be fighting for it. Yet they seem to be very comfortable. Something's not sitting well. Things stay humble, but are starting to look brighter. The harbor's full of life and the kids grow strong. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everybody has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. I like that one. It's far from great. Children who lost their parents during the war have no trade in hand, and there's not enough settlements to send them away. Many people are unable to prosper. Like, this could be good when talking to her specifically, because she seems to be a motherly figure. But I feel like this is a good middle ground. And it's more accurate to what we would say. And I was afraid it was lost to hunger. Her chuckle is trimmed with scorn. Good to know I was wrong. When the invasion started, some merchants were cheering in their houses, happy that they would sell out all the blades and food they have stored. Can you believe it? This panic will make us rich. She imitates the voice of a pompous man. That's why, when the southerners reached the villages, they found almost nothing to eat. She sighs. Staying in a remote peninsula can truly be a blessing. She pauses, hesitant to go on, then shakes her head slightly. Well, we can't change the past. How can I help you, Stoutworthy? I'm looking for a Astarion. What would it take to make you consider joining Hoblivin? Have you heard of the necromancer in the north? You seem to be fairly well off, even more so than the other people. What's your secret? I really was... Yes, the game knows I'm questioning it. Thank you. Tell me about Howler's Dell. I was in the ruined vigil. Yeah, I want to know about that as well. What do you think about that scavenger who was here before? We can even learn about the dude that we helped. Well, we haven't helped him yet. And this is part of our quest. Okay, we gotta take this piece by piece, let's start with my pressing questions. What's your secret? She reaches for her buckle and her voice grows cold. There's no secret, traveler. There's hard work, risks, and sacrifices, and the support of those that care about me. The good things that happen to me shine on my people just as much. Think about it before you mention it again. She adjusts her cape. So she took offense to that. And I was, I guess, technically being quite inquisitive. The way she reaches for the buckle that has that deer with the long antlers on it, that is telling me that that's something to do with it. If that's her god or like a symbol of her faith, I don't know. There's something going on there and she does not want to talk about it. Well, I'm on to you. Yeah, you gotta wake up pretty early in the morning if you think you're gonna pull a fast one past old Reginald Stoutworthy. I was in the ruined village south of here. What's going on there? Maybe I should be asking good like information questions before I piss her off too much. Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue. Everyone likes to click their tongue as she leans away from you. I don't even want to think about their tragic fate. No one can negotiate with the wrath of the herds. A long pause, and I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us. A wound we won't forget. Oh. What do you know about the scavenger who was here before? Ah, he's still alive, she says with distaste. He brought us some news from the north and paid off his debt to us, but he's an idler and a prattler. Drinks too. The farther away he stays from here, the better. So if we return to this city with him at our side, it's probably going to affect our relations with this city. And I don't know if I want to affect the relations currently. We need their help. And we need them to join the guild, right? So maybe we want to take the 2 pelts in. Even if we can clear this. Well, you know, those dragonlings are in the way anyway. Let's see. I don't know if I want to mention that tree just yet. That may cause something. I'm looking for Asterion. She stares you in the eyes, then turns towards Gordon. Is your palfrey a mare? We have 2 jacks. Could use some mules. She wants to make a deal for information. Maybe she's not as, as kind-hearted as we thought. A stallion, so it won't give you anything stronger than a hinny. It is, but I need it to stay strong and healthy. I'm looking for a Asterion. I feel like we need to be firm with this. We're not making any deals with our horse. Our horse is off the table. I like how you can choose if it's a male or a female. That's very interesting. I'm looking for a Asterion. I heard you, but he's not welcome here. Her voice is harsh, and I don't know where he went. We haven't burned him or fought his awoken shell. Wherever he is, a long pause, it's not our problem. What are his wrongdoings? If you have to know, he failed and won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Aegidia, a daughter of mine, to her betrothed in Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through right into their trap. She touches her deep-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A Roadwarden worth their gruel should have known better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl, she never had a chance. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. Damn. Damn, this is... If he was the Roadwarden of this area for a long time, well, we don't know how long. He would have better skills than that. There's something else going on here. Any ideas where I can look for him? Did you ever find your daughter? Right, because if she died, her corpse will come back. Did you ever find the daughter? This is going to be a touchy subject. For a few breaths, her green eyes seek something in your face. Her words are careful, yet hesitant. She's with the fogs now. I thought the frogs. She's with the frogs. We fed her to the frogs. The goblins were after food, so they carried her shell away. One day, she's going to charge at our walls, awoken and empty. Even though she was a bit mawkish, her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people, was ready to help them, and to cry with them. I could tell you stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. This story is so cool. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Anyway, any ideas where I can look for him? You have quite a big family. That seems like it's getting to the rudeness. I may end up asking that, but why did you let him leave? I think it's pretty obvious why did they let him leave. Any ideas where I can look for him? She adjusts her cape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking for him in the north. He spent most of his time between white marshes, gale rocks, and creeks. Here, he wasn't that eager to share his plans. You have quite a big family. She titters weakly. At one point, there were 12 kids living in our house. 9 girls, 3 boys. They come and go, as it should be. A few are already with the forest, but most are all grown now, even started their own families. She looks away at a girl wiping spilled milk with a wet cloth. To be perfectly clear, they aren't exactly our children. It's a custom of our village for the mayor to look after the orphans. Thankfully, Eric's has a big heart, and much more patience than I do. As she speaks, her smile widens. So I did remember reading a little bit in the lore. I did a quick, peruse off camera, and it mentioned that people who live in just the settlements and the towns, for the females, it's not uncommon for them to have many pregnancies as a way to grow population and to grow families. So it's quite normal for women to be having multiple, a large family, right? But this is a little bit different, it seems, where they're actually accepting orphans. It seems too kind. Thanks for the help. I wonder, back in Hoblivin, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers working even in daylight. I stayed there with Octavia, the miller. In exchange for doing chores for her, she had this small wooden hut. This is awesome as well. They're asking us questions. It's not just going back to the general questions that I'm asking her. We're having an actual conversation. How pleasant. Since the war, even the soldiers have avoided that street. People say it's a home for thugs. You wouldn't recognize it. It's now a respectful street. One of the fanciest inns in the city, the Apple and the Boar. It would make you feel like you're in the old days. The Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. There's no such street anymore. It fell to a great fire. I'd like to try and change this place. I love how I'm crafting the world as we go. This is really unique. You wouldn't recognize it. It's now a respectful street with fancy sins. It would make you feel like you're in the old days. The Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. So it got worse. It's pretty much the same, just like the old days. Dark, dirty alley with muggers working even in the daylight. I stayed there with Octavia the miller in exchange for doing chores for her. She had this small wooden hut. I kind of feel like we want to say it's gotten more respectful. It doesn't really fit the vibe of this world. Yeah, we're going to go with that. You describe how a family of Southerners started a large shipyard right next to the alley, working on exotic boats in unusual shapes. Needing hands to work, they offered food and coins to many local thugs, and with time, more light and stalls showed up in the alley. As you describe the new inn, Dias bursts into cheerful laughter. So it's the same family that ran the Boarhead Inn? And to think that I dared to doubt the old lady's endurance. People like her, brave enough to bear the toil of their world, are going to bring salvation to us all. What would it take for you to consider... Alright, let's talk about the necromancers. She taps her fingers on the table. Yes, I have. After you ask her to tell you more, she seems to regain her confidence. You mean White Marshes, for sure. I don't know all that much about what's happening there. We avoid their lands if we can. She frowns. I shouldn't gossip about it with strangers. We can talk about it on another occasion. Okay, so she doesn't trust us yet. By the way, I'm going to exhaust a lot of these because I think it's really important, and I am just enraptured with this story. But I completely understand if you guys are just skipping ahead to see where we go. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. But I appreciate you for the ride. What would it take? Oh no, I want to talk about this one. I was in Pelt of the North. The innkeeper feels uneasy about Gloshia's band. When you mentioned the raids on the northern villagers, her eyes narrow. Are you sure? It's the first I've heard of it. Glaucoma has been around since years back. But she's not that much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking for you to join forces with him. Well, I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives in the pursuit of some gossip. Absolutely correct. I'm on her side. I could ask around and learn more about this. That's part of our job. Because it's not just, you know, we're not just doing this for that guy at the innkeeper. We're also doing this to secure the realm, you know? I could ask around. She sighs with exaggerated relief. What a splendid idea. There are only 3 villages in the north, White Marshes farther north by the western road, Gale Rocks by the northern coast, and creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places and you will get my answer. I'm paid for passing the message from here to Pell to the north. Asking me to ride for you through half of the peninsula and back is a different deal entirely. So basically, we can try and get her to provide something for us in exchange for us to do all that work. I think we're just going to say, I can do that. She might give us something, but she's comparing us right now, right? She is comparing us to the qualities of Asterion, who failed pretty miserably. So Roadwardens, she's got a bad taste in her mouth. I bet you she's trying to find out if we're willing to work, if we can handle this kind of stuff. And this is what we're going to be doing anyway. We don't need to get anything from her. I can do that. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? It is similar to what we have here. Before the war, the merchants were wearing those really long dresses and robes. Way too long for my taste. They got mud stains after every rain, and I see no reason to keep shoes completely hidden. Not anymore, there's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics like the old days. For years, there was not enough hemp and wool at hand, so people have started to wear furs again. As far as I can tell, many folks wear headgear. I'm not sure. I don't pay too much attention to fashion. I think that would be it. Old Reggie does love to have some glorious robes, but he doesn't really care too much about what people are wearing. He's just getting the job done. She pushes you with more detailed questions. What do the merchants wear? How about priests? Do armorers have enough linen and padding? You struggle to say much as she finally falls silent, observing you with annoyance. She's waiting to learn more about the raids in the north, okay? Do we go for the tree? Let's learn a little bit more about Howler's Dell. She seems to be very proud of talking about her village. It is what it seems like, the greatest village in the far north. She raises her hand and makes an inviting gesture, though I hope to still improve this and that. She winks at you, but is suddenly interrupted by the pained cry of a little boy who hurt his knee during a fall. As an amused elder tries to calm him down, the mayor shrugs it off and titters. She likes to titter a lot. Then meets your eyes again. Life's good here. We have what we need and a lot of what we want, building on top of more than 12 generations of hard work and bravery. She spends a good few minutes telling you about mouflons, wheat, rye, hemp, cheese, and wool, proud of every glimpse of prosperity. Whenever she mentions an artisan, shepherd, or farmer, she doesn't miss a chance to mention how significantly she improved their conditions. She's very proud of herself. And maybe that's deserving. She also omits some topics. You hear of no tales, songs, ancestors, rituals, or days of prayer. I knew it. It's like listening to a tax collector or someone who is trying to hide the fact that there is a demonic cult living beneath the very ground, the blood roots. Only at the very end of her speech does she mention the wisdom of the elders, now kept in the teachings of the druids. It's all making sense. Who help her guide those who trust her. They heal our wounds and our gardens and summon blood trees, she explains, but then changes the topic to all the fruit trees, hairs, and nuts in the woods. Once she's done with it, I nod politely. We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you are from, Stoutworthy. What's your story? Have you lived in Hovleman all your life? In a way, I know it as well as any other city folk, but every spring I trained in horsemanship. So far, that's the answer. Only for a bit. I was raised in a small village just nearby and moved to the city after I had decided to look for luck as a Roadwarden. I think that's it. I was raised in a small village nearby and moved to the city after I had decided to look for luck as a Roadwarden. We needed gold for our siblings. To see the city for the first time after being surrounded by a couple of small houses and fields, it's a strange feeling, isn't it? She puts her hand on the table. Even after my second winter there, I felt like a stranger. But those who know how to live in the countryside close to the wilderness, we will always find a new home for ourselves, don't you think? She gives you an encouraging smile. What would it take to make you consider... Let's do this first. I consider it right now while she laughs. Her eyes remain keen, but if you want me to give you some answers, let's see. She looks up and to the right, theatrically raising her hand to her chin. Some gestures of goodwill would be a great start. Since you're the guild's messenger, I need to know you can be relied on. She gives you a wide white grin. Exactly. And that's only the first step, I assume. Of course. Do you even have the power to handle tax negotiations? She scoffs loudly at your head shake. Do enough for my village and I'll hand you a beautiful signed letter. A list of all the things my neighbors are looking for, as well as what they can give in return. Your superiors are going to see more than enough to prepare their offer. She rubs her hands. I think that's fair. I like this girl. Yeah, it looks like we're in agreement. Do enough for my village is a bit vague. No, we're in agreement. I get it. New mundane jobs available in the village. Perfect. One more thing, though. She puts her elbows on the table, leaning closer to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger. I'll end you first. You are threatening a messenger of the guild. That is very risque. She rests her chin against her open palms, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new Roadwarden. Maybe ask around to see if anyone needs your help. The more my neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing they'll be to offer you better pay. Well, let's start here. What can I do for you? Ah, so kind of you to ask. But before I ask you to run, let's see how you can walk, shall we? Her eyes wander left and right, and she gestures for a nearby guard to move away. He nods, then gestures at a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away as quickly as you notice them. The mayor's shiny green eyes are still locked on you, and her voice is close to a whisper. Since Asterian's disappearance, there's little trade on the roads, and not much news reaches us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you with how obviously fake it is, and help me learn some interesting tales about our neighbors. She wants us to be a spy? You mean ones that weren't meant to reach you? I'm not a spy. I think that's important. We're not a spy for anybody. She sighs exaggerately and straightens up. If you need to sleep on it, that's fine. I saw a weird tree. So this, I guess this is the spy thing. I feel like we want to go and learn about things first. I still don't trust this village. She might be nice and cool and I like her character, but we don't trust her. So we don't want to start being her spy. Not yet, at least. I saw a weird tree south from here. The one with the altar standing in front of it, huh? What do you got to say about that? She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder? The guardian spirit of our wetlands? Uh-oh. Every fall we bring it our gifts, and in return it provides us with its blessed fruit. The flesh of the forest. She stares into your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor its sleep and show us how to ask for its help. Neither of these rituals, she scoffs, would be of use for you. Okay. I don't want to rat anybody else. I don't want to do that yet. No. Thank you for your time. Cool. Okay, so we just talked to Thias. I approach Eric's, the innkeeper. Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten or dirty, and you guess that, like the other furniture, it's brought inside every night. Eric's approaches you with a smile and leans on its surface with its fists. He's portly, and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short gray hair, and an elegant beard. His long woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck, and loose braids at the edges. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around, as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. Any rumors to share? Rumors? Nah, really. I have my own things to worry about. Neighbors keep their own company. Better for everyone to seek help from my wife, or the forest speakers. Nay, in a mug of ale. I wonder if sleeping will yeah, it says you should take a break. So I think we want to talk to everybody here. Then at the end of the day, we sleep. And maybe buy some more rations. Someone who might need my help. You say it as if we expect travelers to get here any day now. I'll ask around come tomorrow, okay? Have you had any interesting guests? I do nae know. He scratches his beard. There was one vagabond, but he was nae here for long, and didn't do much. A timid fellow, talks loudly, but is afraid of everything, especially the guards. His face is touched by flames. He has a big ballista. He says this word with a strange accent, smirking. And a large bird as his beast of burden. I do nae know what to say, he shrugs. He went south and is most likely gone. We met him already. That's the man, the burnt out town. Do you have any rations I could buy? I keep them in the hall. Smoked mutton, a sack of dried fruits, nuts, biscuits we fresh here and pay for it with work. Coins a name worth much. Oh, when he thinks, his lips move as well. Let's say 1 ring for enough food to fill you for 2 days. In Hoblevin, that kind of price would buy you 3. Even 4 times as much food. If you're in a mood for spending, I also have something special. Just give me a minute. He goes upstairs and returns with a small wooden box and a hand-long leather sheath. 'Tis a teeth set. You're afraid of what he's going to show you, but when he opens the box, you realize he meant teeth cleaning. Ah, see? He points at 3 different compartments. Salt, cloves, and mint. You mix whatever you want. The 4th holds only a small pestle, made of polished stone. And here are the twigs you need. They'll last for months. Seeing you're not convinced, he takes a deep breath. Well, we do nae let outsiders bathe in a creek. But give me 2 dragons, and I'll ask my kids to get you in shape. You'll get a tub with soap and rose oil, and they'll wash your clothes in water. I'll cook you something nice, as much as you can eat. 2 dragons? Show me those rations first. Okay, the food ration seems to be the same. That's good. A set to help keep your teeth clean. In an hour, you'll get as much food as you can eat and a proper bath with laundry. It doesn't say anything about healing. So, the bath would be nice, but we're already full up on food. We have 2 gold. I would love to get the teeth cleaning set so we can just kind of clean as we find water. So let's just hold off. We have 2 rations, which is about a day's worth. Let's go back. Thanks. Akakios. The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour, mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to trade in peace. Weevils! He points at a dark little blue insect that's trying to flee. Shit me fire! 'Twas ground a few days ago. Nae peas for us tomorrow looks like. He puts the sack on the ground. I'll take care of it later. A Roadwarden, aye. Even the mayor cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your hosts. Strangers are like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe, but no hood, a rope instead of a belt, and a modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him, and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor from Hoblevin. He stands sideways to you, with legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's around 40, short and a bit greasy, with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. You're a trader, I assume. I guess we'll see each other often. Are you a barrel collector, or do you sell them? I'm looking for a trader. I'm here to talk. I'm here to trade, not talk. I may not be wealthy, but I need a few things. You're a trader, I assume. We'll see each other often. I'm looking for a trader. You'll find me much of a marketplace here, but you're at the right spot. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, artisans. These things are nae mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels. And I would call myself a trader. I'm just but I can show you our wares if you want. He smiles gently and looks towards your pouch. Our shelves are getting covered in dust. We could use some dragon rings or treasures. My neighbors will look at you with a kind eye if you bring them new. How do you say? Commercy? Commercy? Yeah, commercy. Wow, these characters are great. Yeah. Commercy. He grins. Exactly. What can you tell me about Asterion? That ever thought he was here more than once, he didn't leave me much behind, smelly hoarder. He looks around and spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade from me. Do you remember what blade it was? Sure, it was a special one, a sickle sword with a tip wider than 'twas the grip. Longest from fingertips to shoulder, nae a sword, nae a knife, single-edged, brought with his own steel to melt for it. What's it good for? Fencing? More for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. It will nae fall a tree. It's a fine tool. He nods to a passerby, but his smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up. Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it. Nuts and bufflons. So he took it to the wilderness. He shrugs. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast, and bogs in the north, and the heart of the woods. Can I help you with it? What an extrinsic fellow. Extrinsic? It's intrinsic? It's extrinsic. I've been reading so much, my brain is stopping to work. Stopping to work. It's happening. I need caffeine. All right. I don't need furnitures or barrels of food. Do you have anything useful for a traveler? 'Tis hard to say. What do travelers need? He clears his throat and turns away to have a look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends, tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. It takes him a few minutes to look through the wares. He puts 3 packages on the countertop, and as he unwraps the first one, you recognize what it is by the shape alone. Tell me, this is nay a beauty. He chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The haft is long, but the head is light. I know what you're thinking. Your eyes say everything. He praises the weapon loudly, but you barely listen to him. You see your reflection in the unused blade, as sharp as they get. You're not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. When you take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the piece together are just a decoration, and the handle is as smooth as glass and perfectly fits into your hand. The man chuckles. You like it, eh? Now I doubt you can afford it, but do not worry, that's not all I have. I'll look at the rest of his stuff. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. Its frame is cheap, made of oak. 'Tis glued and it's quiet, he says, while shaking in the air. It's not as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in the caves without luring the corpse eaters and goblins. Perfect for a traveler, just take a look. Inside the lantern, you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in the wooden houses. Hide and glue are hide and glue are nay easy to make, but I will nay ask for more than 4 rings. It's so much easier just to use the accent. The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for traders, but we could use a few dragon rings, and who knows if there's ever going to be a next caravan. He gives you a long look. Interested? Well, it depends on what you want for it. Alright. A brand new battle axe. 15 buckaroos. A stack of linen sheets, so this could be for trade maybe. This wooden lantern would also be awesome, but we need money. I bring goods to sell. Okay. You need any help? I could use a job. No, what? There's something urgent. I need a medicament for my daughter. Yeah, she's hurt or anything. He raises his open palms, as if to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen, wants to start hunting in the woods. I can not teach her much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion you have. He hesitates. Almost 9 days. Bring me the potion before the last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon rings. That's pretty dang decent. Where can I find such a potion? I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond Old Pagos, on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring, more boring than a mouflon, but they often brew with Numa. You can also head southeast of the crossroads behind Pelt to the north. I've never been there myself, but you'll find a dolmen there, as old as a city, and this, he reaches from his clinking pouch and pulls out a massive iron key. It's meant to open some secret passage there. Is he just giving us a key? A strong elixir would be worth more than 5 coins. Well now, 'tis all I can pay. He spreads his arms. I dinna sculpt, you stupid. The dragons I get here belong to the village. 5 is fair pay, and I'll mention to all the neighbors how helpful you are. He takes a deep breath and adjusts his robe, still sweating. Okay. How do you know about that secret? From a merchant, she's from south of Hag Hills. I was meant to pass the key to her friend, but he never showed up. And you've been just keeping this key at the side ever since? I kept it with my trinkets and coins, that's all. We were planning to go there for years, but it's one of those things that you talk about and they do it. His brief laughter turns into a cough. Alright. I'll look for it. Good, he smiles. Anything else? Nothing. Okay. Let's go back to 4 hours before dusk. Like, I guess there's... I don't know if min-maxing this game, I don't know if it's good to try and min-max the time by, like, traveling around and stuff like that. What happens if I hit map? Okay, that just shows the map. I'm going to do a quick save. Let's go to Eric's. I could use a room. Sure thing, he nods. My kids will keep cleaner than you'd find in the city. Just tell me when you're ready. I should ask about thanks. I leave the square. Oh, there's even more! You wander through the village. A couple of older people are gossiping with Simon as they grind against the stone of the millstones. An upset Mouflon is bleeding time and again, waiting for someone's attention. Aww. Can I go pet it? It's too late to ask the locals about work. I go to the local priests. I head to Bion, the tailor. You follow the guard's directions and reach the whitewashed building standing in the western bank next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean with a plain, beaten front yard in parts covered with sand. Through the open windows, you catch a glimpse of the furniture, made of smooth, almost shiny wood with hints of dark cherry-like red decorated with carvings of plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooden bench. The table is covered with fabrics, threads, and needles made of bone and iron. She's sewing a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. Her movements are quick and confident. Her brown, wavy shoulder-length hair is tied into a wreath-like braid, but other than that, her clothes are simple and inconspicuous. She doesn't have a left leg, but you don't notice any cane. You observe her for a few moments until, without sparing you so much as a glance, she encourages you to speak with a grunt. I'm looking for a tailor. You found one. Her voice is low, and she doesn't stop her work. Name's Bion. Could you answer a few questions? I'm Neabard. We don't have coin for any of this stuff. I'm just gonna click on it in order to access like the tailor, I think. Let me just quickly skim through this. The longer the outfit you want, the higher the price. Though, fine, let's discuss it. Oh, a fancy dress, good for a socialite or a diplomat. Would make you look like a merchant, fitting for a rich city official. Interesting. I wonder if that affects how people respond to you. My gambeson needs some work. You take off the point of a braid and the woman follows your fingers patiently. I take from 2 to 5 dragon rings for fixing jackets, but you will get anything better for this one. To get it truly stronger, it needs to be spider silk. Tell me about the spider silk. This is made by spiders. I meet her eyes. She's the first one to break the silence. The large ones, they used it to spin webs. It's stronger than thread. But my neighbors do not walk the woods no more. It's getting harder and harder to get any silk. Let me think about it. Outfit repairs. In 50 minutes, your clothes will get patched and tidy. Your outfit needs no work. In 2 hours, parts of this thread will be replaced by the spider silk. Wow, it is really expensive though. Alright. Good luck. The priests. You head south of the dead tree in the main square. Before you get to the second thatched building, a large man stands up from a bench and gets into your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life, broad-shouldered. His hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. Oh. He left his sandals by his sitting spot. Many want to speak with their guides and teachers. He speaks with a solemn, strong voice. But you're nae welcome here. Turn back, stranger. I'm your new Roadwarden. Are you sure there's no souls near that you need? Can I know why? You can. He swings his polished heavy weapon. You're from the outside and can't be trusted. The boors and slaves of the United Church would crush us if they had a chance. Before we allow you to spy on us, we need to be sure 'tis worth it. I'm not a spy. I don't believe you. I'm your new Roadwarden. Are you sure people don't need any help? We can handle ourselves. If that changes, Elpis will summon you. So be it. I turn back. I'm not going to start being like, I don't want any trouble and be all weak. Like, these guys are aggressive towards me. The druids won't agree to see me. From here we can travel. What happens if I go here? Oh, let me... Okay, Howler's Den. I want to check our journal. I found an altar in the soil which seems somewhat connected to the tree roots that surround it. There may be a way to get some sort of response from it. Okay, that's the spying. We've already kind of went through the ruined village. I could look for the potion in the secret chamber of a dolmen somewhere on the southern road. The merchant gave me a key to it. I definitely want to try and do that one. Eastern path. People from the creeks, a hunting village far north, have some issues with maintaining their roads. I don't really trust this mixture, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, he can give us the dragon bones or a mixture that scares 8 men away. I bet you that doesn't even work. I bet you it's just his own piss. Okay. Not staring about a cigarette from pathfinders or use them to cut through the thickets. Okay, so I feel like at this stage, we don't necessarily want to go back all the way here. This is the Pelt to the north, so something to the south of it, I think they said, is where that, the potion place could be. So I'm guessing if we go down here and to the right, we might find it. So I'm feeling like we need to spend a night here, but maybe we have to wait until it's the evening time. And then we're gonna head back down to the ruins, escort the man to the Pelt to the north, and then we can try and continue down here. I guess we don't really need to go east yet. Oh, it says travel time as well. 1 hour and 30, but I can't know up in these areas. 30 minutes to get down to there. Okay. Let's do a little bit of travel. And I think this will probably be the last area of the video. Let's go... Oh, I'd love to explore further down here, to be honest. But that might be too much time. So wait, 30 minutes to get here. How much more time is it? It's 4 hours before dusk. Let's do new areas, though. Let's go north. The road is beaten and free of litter. You notice paths between the fruit-bearing trees on your right, and soon after that you ride alongside vast fields of broad beans, almost ready for the second harvest of the summer. Then there are the green hemp plants, taller than you are, waiting for a scythe or sickle. The locals keep the beasts at a distance, I guess. Gordon's hoof thumped loudly on the beaten track. The green bushes, shrubs, and trees prove that the soil here is fertile, yet the plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be busy at times, maybe even patrolled. In the distant west, you see the mountain peaks dividing the lowlands from the ocean. The road east leads towards the hills, behind which there are unusually tall, dark trees. There's a dense forest in the north, from which you hear the croaking of toads. The last path is already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which seem to be made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi. Yet, the pictures and letters that cover the nailed boards are nothing alike. Let's search the area first. The thicket doesn't help. You notice the remains of berries and pears, but most of them are already rotting, spread close to the wooden stools at the side of the road. The nearby creek is not impressively deep, but the beaver dam, for some reason, taller than you are, makes it wide and waters the surrounding soil. A few steps away from the southern signpost, you find something sticking out of a shrub. It's a moist plant covered by fungi. You try to move it with a stick and a gloved hand. After a minute or so, you confirm it's an abandoned sign covered with green letters and colorful pictures of flowers and trees. Let's try and find out where it was attached. The southern post is the only one with holes left by nails. Okay. The southern post, and that's the direction that we came from. Okay, what does the southern signpost say now? It's covered with green, blue, and white paint that portrays simple squares with roof-like linens hanging above them. Each square has a large letter inside it, though you don't recognize them. Nevertheless, the pictures are not too old. There are no other words or marks. The plank was attached with a set of wooden wedges. I return to the southern signpost. I take another look at the destroyed sign. It's covered with green letters and colorful pictures of flowers and trees, now blending with mold. Green letters and colorful pictures of flowers and trees. Green, blue, and white paint that portrays simple squares with roof-like linens hanging above them. It seems like something happened to replace whatever key location was in the south, which is going to be that village. So maybe like when the village was burnt down, a new sign went up. Very suspicious about that big city now. Western. It has 2 planes attached to signposts with a nail with her steel. The lower sign is divided into 2 halves. The left edge is engraved with 4 simple shapes, squares with roof-like linens hanging above them. The other edge bears 2 engraved piles, one of them made of horizontal rectangles, the other of it in exact circles. You don't recognize the letters between these 2 piles. The upper plank is covered with 2 short words drawn in white paint, and right below them an engraved vertical rectangle with an hourglass inside it. A vertical rectangle with an hourglass inside of it? Not settings. Journal. Inventory. It's not that. Why does that sound so familiar? A vertical rectangle with an hourglass inside of it. That sounds so familiar for some reason. But I'm wondering if that... So that symbol means like a city. The roof linens and stuff means there's a town that way. The piles... Maybe that's like corpse burning piles? Where people have burned corpses? What about the eastern? It's almost empty, bears no words, only a single picture, painted with a great care. It portrays a city-like gate with a watchtower to its left and right, and a couple of small conifers growing beside it, partially behind the towers. The northern signpost. Pointy carved bones and divided into 3 sections covered with small engravings. The part on the left has 3 large squares with roof-like linens hanging above them, no other pictures or words. The one in the middle has only 1 square, but also a simple horizontal symbol of a fish and a short word beneath it, which you don't recognize. I think that's where they mentioned that there was fishermen and stuff that could help us or could use help. I can't remember for the merchant guild. The image on the right has 2 roofed squares, but also 2 other images which you recognize easily: a deer and a standing barrel. I searched the area some more. Nothing more can be found here. Okay. So from here, I'm guessing we got lots of ways to go. But I do not want to go too far away. So what time is it now? 3 hours before dusk? Let's go back and go in this direction over here. We want to explore around this area before we start committing to a direction. It's getting late, better look for a safe place to sleep. You got it. The path gets greener and meanders between treacherous precipices. You ride slowly, passing by birds and ibexes, but in the distance you spot circling harpies, and below you a roaming mountain cat pursuing a mouflon. You take a sip from your water skin. The air here is a bit dry. Let's hope that the echoes of hooves won't reach any larger beasts. Seek shelter. 2 hours before dusk. The path leads you down again to a small, moist valley, impenetrable for a rider. The thicket is made of thorny shrubs, tall grasses, and the weak, fallen boughs that nourish mosses and mushrooms. You examine the remnants of the path covered with greenish puddles. Without the roots, and with a fresh layer of pebbles, it may still be restored. You look behind you. The road is clear, no ambushes so far, but if you hope to clear its place, it'd be better to do so soon. It'll only get denser with the passage. I'm afraid of getting tired. I'll get this done in half the time. I don't think we can... If I want to get this done today, I need to work hard. I don't own any potion that could help me here. I think we can't waste any time right now. We need to travel and go back home. Oh, look, it blocks out. It's too late to explore those places. Let's head back. You ride to the open gate and swiftly dismount. There's too many people around to let Gordon run among them. I head to the stables. Spend a few minutes with Gordon, but before you reach the square, someone clears their throat. You turn to a man in his 50s with large hands, an elegant beard, and no hair. The stable master. He both introduces himself and answers an unspoken question. You frown, then realize that you indeed saw him before, and your palfrey was nicely taken care of during your first visit to the village. Or rather, I'm one when 'tis necessary, but I'd rather grind flour, he says with annoyance. You dinna think your beast waters itself, brings itself fodder from a storehouse, and cleans its own shut? Nay? Takes time and hay if 'tis... He points at your companion. Is nae going to work for it, ye better have a pouch at hand. You look behind you. The stables are not much more than an open shed with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. Would a dragon bone be enough? He nods. For 1 day. That's fair. He looks around, rubbing his hands together. I'm broke. I don't think we can afford it right now. I'm broke. My mountain needs only some hay, water, and peace. He scowls at you, but points to an empty bucket and steps away. I fill the trough with water from the creek and make sure Gordon is comfortable. You're wandering through the village. Okay, we want to go to the main square. Oh my goodness. It's getting dark and the inn is loud and crowded. The innkeeper lights up the The rushlights and workers drink and the guards are preparing for the night watch. If it wasn't for the presence of the creek and the uncanny lack of beggars, this place would feel like Hovland's marketplace. One of the tables is occupied by a dozen or so kids. None of them looks older than 12, and the youngest one, too dirty to resemble either a boy or a girl, is about 6. They are surrounded by their playthings, a movement on wheels, an elegant wooden sword, and a painted board covered with rocks, but they are bored and tired. Even though you only get a glimpse of them, the oldest girl notices your attention. She springs to her feet and approaches you with a few skips. She's already pretty tall, dressed in a worn, subdued tunic, so long that it looks like a sack. It would be rude to ignore her. I smile and ask what she needs. Yeah? Let's not encourage her. I don't want to deal with children right now. I say I'm busy and walk by her. It would be rude to ignore her. I smile and ask what she needs. I'm just going to be like, yeah? She puts her hands together and puts on a grimace of a playful misery.
Master Roadwarden.
Hearing such an antiquated salutation makes it difficult for you to hide your smirk.
We are.
She points at her group.
Bored. Oh, so bored.
She puts the back of her hand on her forehead, letting out a deep sigh.
Please, Master, tell us a story or two, for each traveler sees with different eyes.
I guess that's the sound of a child. The last few words sound like an echo of an old tale. Reginald would love this. He would stay up all night. They're basically asking, tell us tales of your grandeur. Yes. Make room at the table. Gather round, gather round. The children gather around and ask you for a minute for them to gather their friends and siblings. After a bit of chaos, there's 20 young souls sitting close to one another on benches, stools, and on the ground. The red-haired twins brought a blanket to lay down. You have a shorter side of the table all to yourself. The older kids understand your lost look in an instant. They start to hush each other, which causes an even greater amount of noise. But in the end, there are dozens of eyes staring at you with a mixture of boredom and anticipation. We're going to end it here. I was hoping to get to bed first. We're going to end it here. I need to get some food, and I need to drink a gallon of water. But as always, I am thoroughly enjoying this story, and I can't wait to get back to it. We'll pick off and tell the great story of old Reggie Stoutworthy's grandiose past, and see if he has any tantalizing tales of sultry endeavors. Until the next one. I hope you've enjoyed this romp in the world of the Roadwarden, and I hope you are as interested to see where this thing goes. If it's your first time looking at the game, welcome, and I hope you enjoy it. If you know the game and you know where this goes, of course, no spoilers, but I hope it brings a good sense of nostalgia to you. To the next one. Enjoy whatever you enjoy doing, and we will talk to you then. Ta-ta.